Okay, so have you ever fallen into those internet rabbit holes? You know, hours spent clicking and scrolling. Well, today, we're going deep into the world of Reddit, specifically the Orozco subreddit.
Our Moscow. That's a good one.
It is. But before you think it's all politics and, heavy stuff, we're actually treating this subreddit like a digital city square.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah. It's less about the Kremlin and more about, what are Muscovites really talking about?
And what are people planning trips to Moscow worried about? I'd be curious about that.
Exactly. And the variety is wild. You'll find someone reminiscing about, like, their favorite bakery from childhood right next to a traveler freaking out because their Visa card won't work.
Oh, yeah, I've seen those posts. That seems to be a big concern. With everything going on, a lot of those international cards aren't working in Russia.
Which makes sense with all the sanctions and whatnot.
Yeah.
But yeah, several posts asking, like, is cash king now? How am I supposed to pay for things? Real practical stuff.
Right, exactly. Like one user asked, is there any alternative to carrying loads of cash? Clearly a little stressed about that.
Well, yeah. Imagine landing in a foreign country with a wallet full of useless plastic. Talk about stressful. And it's no wonder people are asking about safety, too. I saw a bunch of questions about the metro system and whether Yandex taxis are a safer bet, especially at night.
Yeah, Yandex taxis. For those who don't know, think of it like the Russian Uber or Lyft. But the fact that safety is a specific concern, especially for getting around,
hmm
it highlights those anxieties that come with being somewhere unfamiliar. The language barrier alone is enough for some people.
Totally. And it's not just physical safety either. This digital curtain kind of drops when you're in Russia.
Yeah.
Several posts mention needing a VPN, not just for like, sensitive stuff, but to use Google, WhatsApp, even Instagram.
Yeah, because Russia restricts certain websites and apps, right?
Yeah.
So that VPN, that virtual private network, it's essential. Without it, tourists are basically cut off.
It makes you realize how much we take for granted,
Yeah,
just being able to connect to whatever, whenever.
totally.
But hey, even with these digital and financial hurdles, people are still really psyched about experiencing Moscow.
Oh, for sure.
Tons of requests for recommendations. One was looking for clothing stores, but like cool ones. Unique style, good prices, that kind of thing.
That's interesting. It speaks to wanting something authentic, right? Not just the typical tourist trap.
Exactly. Those hidden gems you won't find in every guidebook. Speaking of the unique, there's no shortage of people looking for very specific vibes. Like, I saw one post asking for the best, get this, rock and metal bars in Moscow.
Wow, interesting.
Right? Shows you that no matter where you go, people have their passions.
For sure.
And sometimes you just need a good head-banging metal bar.
Absolutely.
Then there's this one that just cracked me up. This person's planning a New Year's trip to Moscow, which sounds amazing, but they're very specific about avoiding, and I quote, the mid parts of the city.
Mid. Okay. I'm intrigued.
Right. Like they've done their research, and they're not here for the basic tourist traps.
Yeah.
Specifically, they called out Arbat Street.
Oh, Arbat Street. Yeah. It's that historic pedestrian street, very famous. Lots of souvenir shops, street performers. Usually a must-see for first-timers.
And yet this person was like, hard pass.
Wow. So they're looking for something a bit different. I like it.
Yeah, and they even posted a picture.
Oh, they did.
Yeah, with the caption, more selfie sticks than historical charm.
Ouch.
Yeah, kind of funny, though.
It is refreshing, though, right? This person clearly wants to dig a little deeper, you know? They're not just there to check off the typical tourist spots. And what I find fascinating is this desire for authenticity. It goes beyond just sightseeing.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
see it with the questions about clothing stores, the rock bars. It's like people are approaching travel differently these days.
It's not just about, like, I went here, I saw this. It's about those, I don't know, those little moments that feel real, you know?
Yeah,
The things that make a place unique. You want to feel the pulse of the city, right? Understand its rhythm.
Yes.
Even if that means, like, ditching the guidebook and taking a chance on a local's recommendation for some hole-in-the-wall place.
100%.
Mhm.
And speaking of recommendations, that community aspect pops up again in a post about tattoo shops. Someone's looking for a good artist in Moscow, and the replies are full of suggestions, personal experiences.
That's so helpful, though.
It is.
It's like having a network of local guides right in your pocket, especially in Moscow, where language can be tricky, you know?
Absolutely.
It's really cool how these online spaces can bridge that gap.
Totally. Like you're saying, hey, been there, done that, let me help you out. And it goes beyond just those practical tips, too.
Yeah.
There's a post from a photographer looking for a model for a photo shoot.
Interesting. What kind of photo shoot?
Well, that's the thing. They're not just looking for, like, any model. They specifically want someone who embodies the spirit of Moscow.
Oh, wow. That's pretty profound.
I know. It's like they're searching for a muse, you know, someone to help them capture the city's soul through their art.
That's a cool way to put it.
And speaking of capturing the spirit of Moscow, I mean, the subreddit itself is full of these incredible images. Intricate metro stations, those panoramic city views, street art tucked away in alleyways.
I love the metro pictures.
Oh, they're amazing.
Like it's art in itself, right?
Totally. And it's just this cool contrast, you know? One minute you're reading about someone freaking out about finding an ATM, and then the next, you're scrolling past a photo that belongs in a museum.
That's Moscow for you.
It is this fascinating mix of, like, the everyday and the extraordinary.
Exactly. It's that blend of like gritty realism and then bam, unexpected beauty. That's Moscow.
So, layers upon layers.
Yeah.
And we're peeling them back one Reddit post at a time.
I like that.
Like, we started with those worries about navigating a world where, you know, your credit card's suddenly useless, apps disappear. But then we find this community, you know, sharing tips, recommendations, even collaborating on, like, art projects.
It's very human, isn't it? Beyond the headlines, the politics, just people looking to connect, wanting something real.
Exactly. Wanting to feel safe, have an adventure, find those little moments that make a place special.
And sometimes those moments are hiding in the most unlikely spots, like a Reddit thread about a city thousands of miles away.
Who knew scrolling through posts about, I don't know, lost wallets and where to find the best borscht could be so insightful.
Right.
We dove into this wanting to feel the pulse of Moscow.
And the pulse is strong.
It is a city full of life, contradictions, even a sense of community, which I wasn't expecting so much of.
It sticks with you, this idea of a place embracing its history while at the same time dealing with a world changing so fast.
And through it all, people just looking to connect. So we're surfacing from this deep dive with, I hope, a better understanding of Moscow. But more importantly, I'm curious, what surprised you? Did this change your view of Moscow, even if you've never been?
Because sometimes the best journeys are the ones that take us beyond those glossy travel brochures and right into the heart of human experience.
And that, my friends, can be found in the most unexpected corners of the internet. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.